Welcome, everyone. We
Welcome.
are here for another episode of the Marshall Street podcast.
Yes, joined by a very special guest. We have Matt from R.E.A.L Music, A.U Dollars.
Yeah, what's good?
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? Quick
What's
introduction.
good? Yeah, it's Matthew Craig, co-founder and label manager of R.E.A.L Music with Junor, R.E.A.L Music family, RMF, and A.U Dollars, Australia's hip hop connect media platform. Just doing good things, trying to push this next global generation, push cash culture everywhere. So that's it.
Nice.
Definitely are doing a fair bit to keep yourself busy.
That's it, always. But I'm glad I got time to come on the podcast with you
Fucking
boys.
oath.
Yeah, done. Now, today we're just going to talk about distribution and artist development.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys have been involved. When did R.E.A.L Music start?
So we sort of started as just a creative collective, like a bunch of young cats who we had some, rappers, some producers, some videographers and that. So we started back in 2012 and then sort of evolved from there to become a label and a management company and all those sort of things.
Nice. So you've seen the artist development journey pretty extensively, and you've been pretty hands-on in that.
Yeah, very much so. I would say that's probably the thing I've probably got most experience on, to be honest.
Dope.
Both personally as an artist and working with artists. Yeah.
What made you want to get into that? How are you passionate about that? How did you realise that sort of?
It sort of happened by circumstances. Like, to be honest, I never wanted to be a manager or be a label head, sort of. I just wanted to have a crew of my friends making dope shit.
Yeah.
That's the honest truth. And it just happened that, like, I was the oldest. I was heading up the crew. I was, I guess you could say, at a young age, like the OG of the crew. Like, me and Junior, basically we made music since we were kids together. Me and Junior stood in the basement just rapping or whatever. Like, he's a drummer originally. I'm a guitarist, vocalist. And so we were just making music and then had some homies who were rapping or singing. And we sort of put a crew together and we realised, that we need to put some structure around it because we were just hanging out making music, doing dope shit as kids do, you know what I mean? And then it was like, how do we get gigs? How do we get releases out there? How do we actually build a profile? And we had, different crews and that, especially in hip-hop, that we looked towards and we're like, that's sort of inspiration figures for us. And it was like, how do we build that for ourselves here?
Cool. I think it's, and most artists find that themselves, that it's out of necessity they develop these skills.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I guess, through, call it naivety or fucking, being green or new to the industry. When you first come in, you're just like, fuck, this is going to be sick. I'm going to get signed to a label and they're going to take care of all this shit and I'm just going to be the fucking artist and all. And then,
yeah, bro.
I know that was my journey. And then you find yourself 3, 4, 5 years down. We were lucky enough to be distributed by Obese. But even that, once you go through that, and we, to be honest, didn't get the fucking results or the support that, we thought we were going to get from a label like that. And then you end up doing it all yourself. You're like, fuck, dude, how am I going to release myself? How am I going to run myself?
I reckon it's so hard because everything that you want out of a label or anyone that can do something for you in the industry, it's really all talk until they do the action. And it's like, how can you know that even the results come from the public? So how can you say, I'm going to get this?
Yeah, no one's got that crystal ball.
It's interesting when you say that. Like, it's I feel like the music industry is very much the same as like every industry. It's like, you need experience on your resume to get a job, but you need a job to have experience.
Correct.
And so it's just and never-ending sort of vicious cycle and loop where you're almost like banging on the glass ceiling the whole time.
Yeah.
How do I break through this? And sort of we realigned it that we thought that you're always playing two games. This is how we sort of figured it out. It's like, one, you're playing your street game, you're building your fan base. And that's the game that starts at day one, and that's the game you should always focus on, is like building your core fan base. But then at the second time, as you say, when you're independent or you're looking for a label or manager, you're playing this other game where you're trying to almost run up this other board where you're trying to impress the industry and you're trying to impress the tastemakers or the key figures, the gatekeepers in this industry.
Are the gatekeepers,
So you're always playing two games, and it's like, but also remembering that like the one that matters is your fans ultimately at the end of the day, because people can have success without any industry support.
Totally,
100%.
These days, even more so. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it doesn't go the other way. You could have the whole industry backing you. If you don't have fans. Like, what do? You're a fucking waste of resources.
And especially in hip-hop, like I work obviously mainly in hip-hop in sort of the urban space, people can smell shit a mile away.
Yeah.
Like, the worst thing I can see, or from my point of view, to be honest, like I've spoken with many different labels with some of the artists I rep and stuff, and my personal point of view is like, being an industry or a genre that comes from a street culture, you know what I mean? We're dealing with people who don't have a lot of money, like, even though the people in the labels are in their white sort of cushy offices in inner city Sydney, you know what I mean? They all got headaches this morning after R.E.A.L last night. Whereas the guys who are actually grinding, like my guys are in the studio here till fucking 5 this morning. You know what I mean? So people can smell shit a mile away, and the people on the street who want good records and that, if they see major label stickers all over it and see it promoted in a certain way that isn't organic, people are going to realise, and it's not going to cut through. And I think that's, especially the Australian hip-hop industry, is finally getting to the point, well, last night, you know, we just saw Kate, she's an independent artist, she was a Sample the Great, another artist from Melbourne, you know what I mean? Like, finally getting the industry accolades. So because they focused on being organic and winning numbers and running the numbers up, well, yeah, playing the industry games that you got to, they're bringing 2 ARIAs back to Melbourne today. You know what I mean? Like, the 2 biggest ARIAs in hip hop and urban music in Australia are coming back to Melbourne today with independent artists. Like, shout out.
It's huge.
Definitely.
I think, like, the funny thing with that is as well, it's like, you can't tell, we talk about it all the time, you can't tell people what they should like. The people, like, decide as well.
People decide themselves.
And with the people smelling bullshit, I think there's 2 sides to it. There's the side of people want to be against the popular consensus.
Oh, yeah.
There's like this thing like, fuck that song, it's too poppy, it's not even a good song. It's like, well, it is.
For real, like, the perfect example right now, like, Tones and I just broke the chart record. Like, and I'm a hold judgment on that track. That's not really in my lane, that sort of music that I listen to, but I respect the accolade regardless. You know what I mean? However old she is. But, like, for real, you can't hate on that just because it's popular. Like, you got to respect. You got to, like, and you see the memes flying around. You see all that from people who never made a song or never done track shit in their own life. You know what I mean? Like, regardless, I'm always respect an artist and respect their work and their grind. And she's got the crown and the record that none of y'all have got. So you're hating from the cheap seats.
Plus, she's only written with one other guy. Well, for that song. For Dance Monkey, it was her and her producer. That guy's loving life too. Like, he got nominated for Best Engineer and Best Producer. I don't think he won it, actually, I think.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
fucking oath.
Like,
definitely.
Huge.
And I think even on that, it's kind of a funny game artists play, because they're kind of constantly in a mindset of trying to gauge what the public is going to think of their stuff. And so even that I've seen with artists that won't put out a song, or like, no, it's not good, but you've got to, I see it in a shift of mindset as when artists kind of mature, and that they realize it's not about them. It's got nothing to do with them. They're writing for their fans, for the audience, and they know and respect that anyone can resonate with anything. And the track that just because they think it's hot or they think it's fucking gonna pop doesn't necessarily mean it will. And in fact, what's important is that having it out there so that you leave a track of this journey, where you've been, what you're going through, and then in 2 years, because you'll always be better in 2 years than you were today if you continue on this journey.
If you work at your craft, you're going to get better.
So therefore, if you go back and you analyze tracks you released 2 years ago, you're not going to think about those little 1 or 2% that you may be thinking at the time that you made it. You'll be thinking, all right, cool, at least that was out.
Picture.
And it's important that the track's out, because it leaves a mark of your journey and where you were, and shows your growth and progression to where you are now.
And the funny thing is, I look back on music that I made when I was younger, and I'm like, there's still good stuff in there, and you can see kind of where the bubbles of goodness were.
And where you iron out the edges and how you hone this skill. And then that's what creates an artist as a whole. And people like seeing that journey. Like, if you just come and drop a fucking perfectly polished fucking track with a great album and everything's fucking perfect, but you've got nothing that's led up to it, there's no context around that. If you've been dropping shit consistently and people have seen you grow and get better and better and go out and engage with people and play shows, and then you drop this fucking perfect track, then you're in a much better position for things to go.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's about paying your dues, and it's about, like, building and having the grind. It doesn't necessarily have to be in releases, I feel, especially in this age now with social media, you know what I mean, with
just being present.
Present is the best word. Being present, whether it's online or in a physical presence, going to shows and playing shows and being active in spaces and whatever. Just building your brand. Like, that's what it's down to. Because if you come out of nowhere, then everyone's going to know that it's just a big label push. You know? And it ain't legit. And if you're an artist and that's what you want to be, like, some artists, I got to respect, just want to be an employee. You know what I mean? They just want to be the content factory for a label and be a face of a machine. And if that's what you want to do that, but don't front like that's not what you're doing.
And that's also fine, but then you can't, I completely agree. There's some artists that they're fine with that.
Good for you. Get your check.
Like. Definitely. But then you also can't complain if you're not putting out hits you're not getting that funding and support.
Yeah, if you get dropped, because
you got to
if you're
take
playing
the
the
good with
game,
the bad.
like play it on your terms as well. Like this whole game's a quid pro quo, you know, and this whole game is relationships. So like, as you say, like if you're going to do that deal with a major label, they're going to want something from you, and it's like they want hits. And if you're not making hits, expect to get shelved, expect not to get the money.
Correct.
That's why, like, any relationship where you have with a manager, with a label, with a publicist, with a touring company or whatever, they want something and you want something. So work it out on your terms. Make sure you're getting your value as well, but make sure you're adding that value. The same thing. And that's what I feel like. Too many people will take things personally in this industry when at the end of the day, majority of it is about the bottom line, like any business. Like if people can see they're going to make money with you, they're going to want to do that.
So for those people that are just like starting out and kind of trying to find their feet or don't even know kind of where to start and they have that picture in mind, how do they navigate through that?
Build your value, research, meet people, network. Like I feel this game's about two things. As I was saying before, like you're always playing two games. You're playing the street game and the office game. But I feel people just got to focus on creating content and building their fan base. And then on the other factor, it's just networking and showing people that content.
Yep.
Like if your art is good enough and you work hard enough to network and navigate your way through this industry, you will succeed, I feel.
Yep, I completely agree. And the first thing you said there is it's good enough is what people brush over because in their head they go, yeah, of course that track is good, I made it.
No, but like you got to put in years on this shit.
Correct.
Like, and I'm gonna be real, like if you ain't put in 10,000 hours, like don't even try and call yourself an artist.
Like Hoods had put in 10 years before the calling that no one saw and then kept going for another fucking, 15?
If it, like the most annoying thing I see, or in the age of instant gratification, that age of social media, the process of people now getting in the studio, buying a beat, making a record, whatever, and releasing it like within a 24-hour cycle. Like, yeah, you see Young Thug and Future do that, but they put 10 years in the studio. Thug has slept in fucking Gucci studio for like 5 years, made like 50,000 songs. Like, you only see the tip of the iceberg is what I'm saying. If you haven't put in all that work underneath... Like,
right. But that's also, it becomes very apparent. Dudes, people in the know can see through that. And I guess to the people who are taking shortcuts and think they can do, like, I'll say this, dude, the only people that you're pulling the wool over the eyes is people below you. No one who's gone through it and has done the hard work will look at you and be impressed by the shortcuts that you take.
Everyone wants to go viral now, and it's like...
Viral doesn't exist. There's that much content on the internet these days.
It's gone within 24 hours. Something is like a popular culture meme, and then within 24 hours it's parody. Like, you're old if you're both... Like, OK Boomer's old already. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because the Boomers ruined it, as they always fucking do.
So but I think, like with what you guys are saying, I think the thing that young people see that haven't gone through it, these are the people that we're talking about that think that they can bypass all the hard work. It's because they see people like what's his name, Post Malone and stuff, who get signed pretty much.
Post Malone just won Best Rap Album at the American Music Awards.
Yeah.
Good rapper.
Yep.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's funny because like they see people like that who... Yeah, I mean, he's got some talent. Like, he is talented.
Oh, he's dope, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
What dope. Better now.
But
like,
it's so funny, though. People don't... They just see these people that have gotten famous, and that's all the part that they think about. Yep. They only think about that one part. It's like, yeah, but he got famous just by putting up a song on SoundCloud. It's like, there's so much work going into it, even if it's not directly him that's in charge of that work. You know, you being someone that is a manager, a label owner, all that sort of stuff. And there's so many parts to that puzzle.
In the team now.
I would compare the stories, the one-off stories of someone who fucking uploaded a track to SoundCloud, woke up the next day and their life was completely changed. They're one-offs. That's like saying you're going to be a millionaire and winning the lottery is your strategy. Like that's how stupid that is. Yes, there is one-offs that might happen, but the majority of fucking overnight success you see was 10 years in the making.
Yeah, that's it. It takes 10 years to be overnight success. Yeah, and as well, if you thinking about them. Artists that pop off, whatever, like Designer, Panda, you know what I mean? That joint a few years ago now. Like, that was a SoundCloud hit when he ended up getting signed to Kanye, and you know what I mean? That joint was on Kanye's album, all went nuts. But people like, that song just blew up overnight on SoundCloud. No, he had a SoundCloud street hit before that that never crossed, Zombie Walk didn't cross over the mainstream, but it was the hottest record on SoundCloud and in the streets. And so people go, oh, he just blew up, made Panda and got signed in a deal and doing all this. No, I mean, the work that goes on under the surface, it's the iceberg principle. Like that's where it all
100%.
happens.
Yep.
And that's the one thing I say to all my artists that I work with. Even like today, they're all years deep in the game. You know what I mean? Some have done some really incredible things, but I tell them, if we're getting to where we plan to go, to where you've dreamed of what we're going to get out of this shit, most of your fans don't know you yet.
100%.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. So,
Yep.
like, when you're making decisions based on what is currently your total pool, keep in mind it's. You know, I'm a big like space nerd. Like I treat it like, bro, we haven't even discovered the known universe of your career yet.
Totally.
You know what I mean? We can only see this picture of it. So keep in mind that this is still a drop in the ocean.
Things
of
are
what
going
we're
to
doing.
change as
Things
well.
are going to change. Things are going to get real different.
And that's
Yep.
a big thing.
Plan for the future.
Yep.
Yeah.
And going to an artist, because I love that concept of going, if we get out of this what we plan, because a lot of people, there's a separation in how they act and where they actually think they're going to get to. And, you know, I think it's by lack of a proper plan means they don't really believe they're going to get to this spot. But that's a different conversation. But getting them to go, if we achieve what we set out to here, you know, is this the right decision to be making? Because all of a sudden now you're thinking long game. Now you go into an infinite mindset as opposed to sitting back and, all right, now we're just making quick little fucking decisions on what we can see and whatever screams aloud says. Instead of going, fuck, all right, if we're about this for what we say, say in 10 years we're still going to be here and still going to be fucking working, then it makes your immediate decisions a lot fucking easier because they're aligned with where you're going.
Bro, like this whole game, not just the whole game of life, bro. Life is just a choose your own adventure game. Like you get to write the fucking script. That's the honest truth of it.
Yep.
And that's what, if you want to do something in this game, just do it.
Yep.
Like, and if I fully believe, like, obviously with consideration for people's different circumstances and just the shit life throws at you, but if that aside, on a purely basic level, if you want something bad enough and you put in the hours and the work and the navigation to get there, you'll do it. And if music and art is what it is, just do that.
There's a couple of things that I think about when I hear topics like that. And it's like you have to have confidence, right, in yourself, in the product that you're making. But that alone won't give you anything. You also have to practice regardless of what you do. You got to stay on your game. You have to really work hard at what you know, honing in your craft. Have to be nice to people. You have to make good relationships. You can't treat people like shit. You can't go in and go, I'm the fucking best. You'll see. Like, the music industry is going to fucking flip when they hit. It's like you're not treating anyone with that respect that is going to get you that thing in return.
That's it. And if you like, you can be disrespectful if you want. Like, everyone's got the choice of how they want to live their life. But in the music industry, as in life, like, if you're disrespectful to someone, expect that same energy back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, don't be disrespectful to someone.
Making life hard for yourself.
If you want to get placed on some shit. And you know what? That's a check to myself and my younger self as well. Like, I've been arrogant in this shit. I still get arrogant in this shit. But that's a life skill that we're all trying to develop, you know, control our own ego. But
it's about confidence, though, rather than arrogance. I think confidence and arrogance are like this two-sided coin.
For real. But it's easier when you get a bit of buzz. It's easy to get lost in your own sauce or whatever. But it's a double-edged sword, this whole industry, because also those often who are navigating this shit with the biggest egos are the ones who are at home are fragile as shit and eaten up by anxiety. Like, everyone's eaten by anxiety in this game. We're all just treading water. You know what I mean? No one is guaranteed any success in this game. Okay, maybe Dennis Hanlon, but you know what I mean? Like, but no one's guaranteed success in this game. So everyone is working hard all the sort of time. So you've got to treat people well, because you never know when you're going to need some shit from them in the future as well.
Yeah, you never know who's going to blow. Like, you never know what people are going to be doing in 5 years.
Just treat people well, like...
Definitely, but especially in a creative industry like music, where, as we say it all the time, is a relationship-based economy. Like, if you need a session fucking artist, or you need someone to jump on a track, you need something, and you've got the choice between two people. One who you get on great with and fucking spending 10 hours in the studio goes by like that, and it's fucking awesome, but he costs an extra $100. Or there's a cheaper option who's a fucking cunt, you don't like being with them, and you know you're going to spend the extra. So if you treat people well, you're going to get the gig. You're going to get the call up because at the end of the day, you have to spend 10 hours longer in a room with someone.
Yeah.
You want to fucking enjoy that time, man. We got into music to get out of jobs we don't fucking like. You're not going to go sit in a room with someone you don't like. Like, what's the thought process when people act this way?
And that's where I'm at with what we're at, like, as a company or a crew and organisations. Like, we only want to work with people we enjoy working with. Like,
100%.
People who are on the same wavelength as us, who are dope, who want to do the same shit. Like,
Yep.
I'm like, yeah.
Because that hypes you up.
Exactly.
It's like the artists we work
Yeah, if
with.
you're
play
amped
games
to
with
go
them.
to work, you're going to do
That's
better work.
It's like the artist
Yeah.
and artist coaching. The reason like we're selective with that, we take on people who actually want to get stuff out of it, because then we get excited because we see them going and executing, and then
And
they
we-
get
yeah.
pumped up, and then
We
you just
know
create
where
this.
we've done well
You get this
and-
positive feedback loop, and everyone's just elevating.
We all got 168 hours in a week. Like, how do you want to spend them?
Yeah.
That's it.
So tell us a bit more about the companies. So A.U
Yeah.
Dollars, Real Music.
Okay, so R.E.A.L Collaboration is our company, and then sitting with that, we got Real Music, which is our label and management company. So we've got a roster of artists that we work with and look after in a management role, and we also have our own independent label. Most of the artists work across both. Some are just in either section, but we're a crew. We're a family. We're a crew. We just make dope music, guys. Midas Gold, K the Goat, Drupo, Junor, Belove. I couldn't name forever, but Aaron, Danny Jordan. We're just a family. You know what I mean? We've got a few DJs, Chris Cartier, Sonic Vibes. Like you see all the guys around Marshall all the time. It's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of challenges to navigating a big crew like that. A lot of everyone trying to move individually, but we all try and stay focused on the crew thing and make sure we're building together. So that's sort of, on that capacity. Then obviously, we got A.U Dollars, which was born after R.E.A.L. So as I said, we were just a crew, and then we couldn't find a manager, so I started managing the crew. We couldn't find a booking agent, so we started booking our own shows. Just grew from there. Couldn't have a label, so we just started a label. And then off the back of that, sort of 2014, obviously, today's really cool because, seeing Sampa and Kate win them ARIAs last night is real validation for everyone that's been doing this grind for a minute, and especially for all people of colour who've been doing this in Australia for a minute. Last night's a massive... the Hilltop Hoods got beaten, and that's and that's no.
And they've got music out,
and the album went nuts, and that's no diss on the Hoods. You know
Correct.
what I mean?
Yep.
It's no diss. One of the things that gets misinterpreted by the changing of the guard or whatever, or this next generation of Aussie hip hop is that we don't respect what came before. That's bullshit. There's mad respect what came before. We don't necessarily have a total connection to it though, because it's very difficult for people of mixed race backgrounds, who come from parts of Asia, Africa, or whatever, who've settled in Australia with their families. Their narratives haven't necessarily been that of white mainstream Australia. So while there's absolute respect for all the OGs out here who've done their thing, they're not necessarily our OGs.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So,
and I think even for me, the Hoods were fucking a huge part of when I was making tunes, and when we were on Obese, you're like, fuck,
Yeah,
you had
for
the
real.
Hoods, Obese.
Shit's legit.
But I see it as more as, not out of lack of respect, but when people are holding on to, say, what happened 10 years ago or 5 years ago, when people are holding on to previous, standards, artist bands, and they're letting that stop the next group come through, that's when I kind of don't like, because I'm like, dude, part of all of this is
progress.
growth.
That's it.
They got to where they were because they kicked down fucking doors. And and if you talk to them, they'll be like, "Fuck, dude, I'm glad someone's kicking down our fucking door for the next group. This is how we progress."
It's about keep progressing.
But it's again, when it comes back to a business, there is powers that be that don't like change, because with change there's
Monopoly.
uncertainty, and then it's like, fuck, we know the Hoods are going to sell X amount. Do we want to go with this? Man, we haven't had a black artist before. Suddenly there's change. Do we go back to safe? Because at the end of the day, humans are mammals. We always want to go back to the safe and what's comfortable. So I see it as when it's stopping progression. That's when it's it's out of no disrespect, but it's guys. There's,
and also,
there's new people here.
No one can deny that Sampa and Kate.
Exactly.
They're most influential shit over the last 12 months. Sampa, they're both global.
Man, she's in a fucking stratosphere.
They're both stars, and that's why today's real validation. Because as I was talking about R.E.A.L, and as I go to talk about A.U Dollars, A.U Dollars was born because this didn't exist 5 years ago or 6 years ago. What are we? 2019 now. 2014, we were playing show R.E.A.L. We didn't have a deal with nobody. We were uploading shit. We didn't in 2014. We weren't even distributing music. No. We were still doing Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and we were running 100%. Up numbers there. We were playing 300, 350 cap shows with an independent crew with no support whatsoever, no industry support, and we were hitting up labels and hitting up managers and showing them trap records, showing them us going in on triple flows and that back in 2014, And I remember sitting with some very influential people in the Australian hip hop industry at that time. They were like, "Yo, this is dope. Australia's not ready yet." They're like, this isn't what hip hop in Australia sounds like.
Yep.
And they went, so I might have to try and push it somewhere else, or I don't know if there's much of a market here for you. And we went, cool, thanks to you. And these are people we respected their feedback. You know what I mean?
And to be honest, that's some good feedback to get.
That's some crazy feedback to get.
That's super like, I'd say accurate, but also open and honest.
It was
I
dope.
would feel like receiving that feedback, you'd have to try and understand what they're trying to say with that. And one person could take it the wrong way and goes, fuck them, they don't know what's good and this and that. And it's
this
like,
was someone who'd had a lot of success, both locally and internationally, you know, in a management label sort of capacity, and who had a good knowledge of urban culture, you know what I mean? And I was like, I respected that. But yeah, you're right. There's so many responses that you can have to that. You can go away and go, well, fuck this. You can give up.
Give up,
You can give the finger to everyone and try and push through anyway. Or you can learn from it and implement something. So that's when we went, okay, our music is tight. We've got to keep making tight music. But we also need to help change the culture here. We need to change the perception of hip-hop in Australia so that there's a spot for us in an evolved, more mature, nuanced market. So that's when the concept for like A.U Dollars was born. And like we weren't the only ones. Don't let anyone ever get it twisted that we think we are the wave or nothing like that. No, we were part of an ecosystem of people similar to us who started up ventures or avenues independently of the system and the machine to try and push this next generation of urban culture in Australia.
And I think that you touched on it didn't exist what we have now. So it's like the perfect time to get started to try and get ahead of the game. And then all of a sudden social media starts popping off and like you have things like the ease of digital distribution. There's fucking 20 different companies that do the same thing essentially. Like didn't exist.
And that's crazy. Like when we started, imagine back in like 2010, 2011, if you could pay $16 a year and distribute as much music as you want to iTunes, you'd be like,
we'd be loving life.
It'd be out of control. But even that, one of the big things that I think any artist who's listened to this in their first 3, 4, 5 years of their career, a big takeaway is doing it yourself. I think the one thing I'd go back, if I had my time again, I'd just be like, stop waiting for that thing to get there and just do it yourself. Like you mentioned, we didn't get a manager, so I started managing. We didn't get a label offer, so we started a label.
Yes.
If I could just speed up that process for anyone listening or for myself, that's what I would have done.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's just stop waiting for the outside validation and go, why do I want a label?
Facts.
Fuck it, I'll wait my own. And then it's like,
so good,
the best way to get your foot in the door is to build your own fucking door.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's like you guys are fucking proof of do it, keep putting in the hours of time. There is more. If you're genuinely into this and you're making good music, there's chances are that you're probably not the only person in your city.
Facts.
Keep pushing, form that fucking ecosystem, and then, you know, a rising tide raises all fucking ships.
I want to run it back to something you just said there because I think that was real crucial when you were like, is like do it yourself anyway, stop looking for that external validation. I feel like so many artists, and we certainly were, we got caught in this trap, is about you're trying to get to the start line. You think a record deal or a manager or a booking agent is how you start making it in this industry. And I get that because the system has told you that. The system wants you to think that you need to work to get a label because they don't want any money being made that they're not getting a check out of. They need to take that's the thing about this, most industries, everyone's taking their clip of the ticket along the way. But now in 2019, for years now with digital democracy basically, the ability to generate your own revenue and control your own time, anyone can do that. And so my advice absolutely would be get your plan and run with that anyway. And then if you're looking for management or label or representation, publishing, whatever, reach out to them trying to slide them into your vision.
Correct.
Whereas what our trap was for probably several years at the start, as you said, probably the first 2-3 years of your career when you're deciding to do this is, you're trying to get to that start line. You're trying to get that validation and you're trying to impress the right people and do all the right little moves, literally releasing music and playing shows based on who you can impress and how you can navigate and put the puzzle pieces together so you can get to that start line. That's old school thinking.
It's not the start line.
Is build your plan. Your start line starts the minute you decide you want to make a career out of this. So build your plan, and then if you realize you need a manager, look to them and pitch them your plan.
Because you'll know. You will know when you need that. When you cannot physically do anymore
yourself,
what you can do.
Then you'll need someone. And also, if it's at that point, if the load is that big that you're struggling to handle it yourself, there's going to be people around you that have got interest anyway.
And it's like everyone wants to jump on a moving fucking bandwagon. You know, if you're building all this momentum yourself and you're an artist that's got a 12-month plan that fits into a 3-year plan and you've got all the show. If like a manager who's active in the scene sees that, fuck man, I can guarantee you your inbox isn't going to be empty for a while. Like if everyone wants to jump on a fucking moving bandwagon, go out and build the momentum yourself and you will attract the people that you need in that.
Build it and they will come. That's the honest truth. Like, it's a funny story. Like, life literally changed the week we launched A.U Dollars. Like, and it wasn't
which is 3 years ago, if I remember your
Yeah,
birthday.
just gone over
Just
3
gone through
years.
your
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah. So it was like September, October 2016 when we launched. So we had the concept for a while and we sort of put it all together. But it's amazing that we just went full steam ahead and launched our own thing. We're just like, you know what, fuck it. The amount of email replies I got the week after from people who had never wanted to like reply to an email in the year or several years previous was ridiculous.
Yep.
And that's just testament to like, do I look at that and just like let me get into my ego about that and like, fuck you? No, you look at that and you go, people want to jump on something that's got momentum. So had we sat around waiting for validation, for radio play, for all these sort of things and never just said, fuck it, we'll launch our own venture, we probably wouldn't have got that snowball, got that momentum, or it would have taken a lot longer.
Correct. And I've got a real world example. Back when we started making tunes, when in 2012, I dropped you guys an email at Real Music when your email was like still Real Music 2012 or something.
At Gmail. That it still
The
exists.
old-
It still exists.
But like even then, back in DYE, in fucking 2012, we sent you an email reaching out because we were like, fuck, here's another crew doing stuff. You know, didn't link up. We both continued on the path of building stuff. And then now look, 7 years
Where was
later.
that though? No, because we did play with you one time though. At Revs.
Revs, yeah, with Ivan. Ivan is one of his first shows.
Yeah, we played with
That
you.
was our grand final eve, I reckon.
Yeah,
Just
I
off the
remember
top of
that,
my
and I
head.
just remember, and that's. Let's put the shoe on the other foot for a second. 100%. You want to talk about momentum and like the DO, those fucking stickers were everywhere, cuz. Like on God, like we're exactly as you said. Like you'll look out for people who are doing similar things to you in the space. Yep. We were moving and we're like we had Real Music stickers everywhere and shit, you know? And then we're like, who the fuck are these DIY guys? And then seeing link up and we're like, your job, they're doing their thing as well. And that was about crews just building individually and creating communities and just doing dope shit.
And then, like now 7 years later, we're fucking tied up and doing stuff.
Exactly.
So it's like, you never know where, if we were a cunt, it's like, fuck, these things, everyone's like, oh, I don't see how I'm going to work in with them in the next 12 months. Or most artists think even short term, like, well, they're not going to bring me success in the next 6 months. Why am I wasting my time? Fuck. We approve it. 7 years later, you might link up with them, and then that could be the thing that fucking blows you into the stratosphere.
And we could have, legit fought over scraps 7 years ago.
Yeah,
We were two like independent, upcoming hip hop crews in a very small market, playing the same shows. You know what I mean? We could have easily been on some op shit, and it was just like, whatever you do, we'll just do our thing and build. No one wins.
But even on that sticker campaign, like, I fucking believe the reason we got distribution from Obese was because of our sticker game.
Yeah,
like our tunes weren't fucking great.
Bro.
They were average. They weren't shit. But fucking our sticker and street game was better than fucking most people's.
Your
back
press
then.
game was lit as well.
For like probably solid 3 years, we'd go through thousands of stickers. Like literally, we'd get boxes of 3,000, which we'd cut in half, so we'd actually get like 6,000 stickers. And we're going through them like every fucking 2 months.
And you would always send, I remember I bought a DYE shirt and you guys just chucked in a free CD, free stickers and shit like that.
Yep.
I remember doing that. We did the exact same shit, bro.
The press game thing was fucking hilarious. I love the fact that you guys, when you did interviews, you never answered them seriously. Everyone's personality in each interview was something else. And that just made me laugh. And I knew that, because I knew you guys, that made me laugh even more. But for people that didn't, they would have been like, oh, he was a painter before this? I never was a painter.
God.
It was lit. You just knew how to brand and market from the start. And that's what...
I stole a lot of my interviewing techniques from Beastie Boys. You watch some of them and they'd get asked a question.
They probably stole it from the Beatles, that's why.
Oh, yeah. And you just answer it with something nothing to do with the question.
It's like watching the president now, bro.
Oh, man. Well, that's a whole nother fucking rabbit hole. But anyway, let's just touch on a little bit of distribution.
Yeah,
like for artists out there who get this coming up, one thing we find is artists in the first 1 to 2 years are the ones who really, they're so keen to get into it, but they're the ones who unfortunately end up wasting a lot of time and money and resources because they're just not sure where to aim their attention. So if you're an artist in the first year or 2 years, you've got some tracks and you don't know how to distribute them, you don't know how to get songs up on Spotify, what's some recommendations from you?
There's a number of sort of them independent sort of online distributors now that you can contact that for a small fee, you'll sort of get unlimited distribution of tracks for 12 months. There's numerous ones out there, DistroKid, CD Baby, whatever. My preferred guys that I work with pretty closely, the Ditto team.
Yep, we use them as well.
Yeah, they're great guys. Like, congrats, like they won the R.E.A.L last night, Kate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
And they're also the only one with an office in Melbourne, which is why I fucking
in Collingwood.
love it. Yep.
Yeah. I catch up with them regularly. So when we first distributed, we landed with Ditto via the recommendation of Music Victoria.
Cool.
And so got in contact with them, and they were great. Like that was when when we first launched the label. Like as a label, we were a crew, as I said, releasing on SoundCloud or whatever. But then we went to form a label, distribute all that. 2015, get Junyor's first release on iTunes and hit the charts, and Ditto supported us the whole way from day one, and now here we are. Later, we've left Ditto and come back many times, sort of thing. We've now got another arrangement. I still work with Ditto on some things, but they're a great team. So I highly recommend them for Australian artists.
Cool.
But yeah, you can find an independent distributor, someone who's quick and easy, responsive, who can speak plain English, you know what I mean?
That's something I like, is having a customer support role there.
That's it. You
just
need
because in
someone
case something doesn't go right in the back end, like for me, that's something important. Just having
I asked so many questions over the years, bro, and still do. Like,
and I fuck shit up, man. I put the wrong shit in the system or upload the wrong artwork, and you're like, fuck.
Just last week, I had to. Just last week, the Ditto guys, actually, an artist that I work with, I had to. Originally, when we released his track a few months ago, you know what I mean? I put in the feature artist as a feature artist, and they were meant to be a main credited artist, and they hit me up like, yo, why isn't this showing up here on Spotify or whatever? And I'm like, yo, that's my fault. I hit them and they had it fixed within 24 hours. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
If you've got a team like that, they can fix those little things. It can take so much stress off your life, because trust me, shit will always go wrong with every release.
Especially the important ones. When you need it done, that's when your internet will go down.
Shit will always go wrong. So plan for the worst and have a team that will be responsive to you in that situation. And again, exactly what Stu was saying earlier, bro, it's just about being respectful and being good. If you got people that work well with you under stress and under tough times, then you know that they're the ones you want to be working with. So distribution, do that. The most important thing is distribution. All they're going to do is get your stuff up there. Like as your career grows, they may work with you more in a servicing capacity and all that sort of stuff. But if you're just starting out and you're getting your music out there, the best thing you can do is plan, no matter for any stage of your career. And release planning it's my favorite thing to do in this whole game. You know what I mean? Obviously making and playing shows. You know what I mean? But from an industry point of view, I love sitting with the artist and building a release, and what's the story we're going to tell through this release, and how do you want people to feel when they consume your art? That's the most important question I always ask with anyone I'm working with, because it's like the first question a lot of people will be asking these days is how many numbers we want to do on it, and that's cool. But if you're going for that, you're playing a very technical game.
I also feel like you're aiming for a symptom or a byproduct of what you do. We're in art. What are you doing this for? Because if you're doing this to run up certain numbers on a board, you're in the wrong game. And you'll also, it's similar. I'd paint that very similar to people who get into business for money. It's a byproduct of doing business well. But the stats there, anyone who's out to make money,
money's just a means to an end as well. Money's to enable a lifestyle. That's what you're chasing.
It would also change how you project yourself as an artist, as a music creator, and all that sort of stuff.
Because you're looking for that. You're looking for validation in the wrong numbers.
Happy.
Not only that, you'll also usually engage in deceitful or illegal activities to get that if you're just chasing money.
Buy fake views and shit to run the numbers up.
Just the thing that you're looking for, But even the people that are genuine and think that that's what it's about, then they're probably not going to feel as much happiness within themselves if that's the thing that their targets are set on. It's like
you never will. You never.
refocus your targets on your
don't get
art.
me
Find
wrong.
your why.
Money numbers are important. Don't get me wrong. We're playing a numbers game, and you got to set your metrics and your KPIs and all that sort of stuff for that. But at the end of the day, when you're having a release, what does this release mean to you? Who are you trying to connect with? And then build a plan to connect with them. Like you made that song for a reason. You made that record for a reason. You were thinking of someone consuming that or listening to that when you created it, when you recorded it, when you wrote it, when you mixed it, when you mastered it. Every step of the journey, you've envisaged something. Now what you need to do is get that vision out onto paper or digital into a plan. And then start building those connections, because that's all we're doing with this is we're building connections between different people on the 7.5 billion people on the face of this earth and you. That's all this thing is.
Building little conduits between you and them.
That's all this is. And so all a label will do is digitally now, rather than physical records, is trying to get more people connected to your record. Booking, when you're playing shows, your booking agent is just trying to get you in front of as many people as possible. Why? What's it about? It's about what occurs when someone consumes your art. When that connection between your art or you personally and that person happens and that bond happens, when that happens, then you've got a fan or you've got a listener or someone buying your tickets or buying your music, but you've got a new connection ultimately.
And so now it's about you maintained.
That's it.
It's not forever.
It's about you to maintain that connection now. So all that a label or anyone can do for you is get you in front of the people and give you the opportunity to make that connection.
Yep.
What happens on that connection in the musical journey, that's magic, bro. That's what this whole game's about. And if you know you're the best thing on the face of the earth, you know you're a crazy artist, all you need to say to anyone is give me the fans. Give me the faces in the crowd, give me the ears, and I'll do the rest.
Yep. And these days, even if someone else doesn't give you that opportunity, the internet has given you that.
You can do it yourself. If you're good enough these days and you build the right plan, I fully believe it's only in the planning and the connection now. But also, do it authentically. I see so many artists out there who have got talent. Don't get me wrong. There's artists out there with talent. But I hate this whole marketing strategy about trying to do some quirky and viral trend on the internet to then go to the top. There's no longevity in that. It's bullshit. If here today, gone tomorrow.
Find what makes you, right?
Do that
Once
best.
you understand yourself and what you really
It's
want.
the hardest part.
It is.
Yep.
If you, I think like a lot of it comes back to just analyze what your interests are. Analyze what you want to do with your life, your art, your music, whatever it is. You'll find all of these common threads and you won't have to pretend. You don't have to. You can just be like...
It takes years to figure this shit out.
You can be like, I love this shit.
Yeah.
This is me. It might sound like someone else.
Yep.
And that's okay. But I'm me and I'm not anyone else.
Great. And even on that, like I've spoken to you about my journey and ending up in the back end of the industry.
Exactly. It
like,
evolves.
Fucking 10 years ago, I would have loved to be the performer and the DJ. And I thought that was the role I was on. I thought that was my path. And then you go through and you learn all the shit about yourself. And then now it's like I'm much more comfortable on the side of stage organizing shit. You know, it's just that when you're
more out of it.
When you're 21, it's not cool to be good at fucking paperwork or running admin shit. Like, but I enjoy that stuff and I'm good at it. So it's kind of like through this fucking process of self-developing and self-learning and getting better at what you do, you're like, fuck. Man, I do have organization skills. I like working with artists. I like maybe I should slide into a management role. Maybe that will take some of the stress that I'm putting on myself from performing live and trying to do all this stuff because I thought that'd be cool. When fuck, if you go inside and do some evaluating, like you'll be a lot happier doing something that's truly you.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to do it for so long. Yeah, and I think that's a perfect analogy, bro. Everyone wanted to be the rapper. Still, even now, everyone wants to be a rapper. Like. And that's I love it that everyone wants to be a rapper now because years ago, like we used to call it coming out. Hip hop, like if you were a rapper in Australia, you would if you were rapping, but it wasn't cool. Like we had to like at party, and people would be like, "Oh, you're a rapper. Rap for me then." And I was like, "If I was a plumber, would you ask me to fix your pipes right now?" Like, for real, like no, but. Everyone wants to be the rapper, but there's a million roles in that circle. You don't have to be the rapper. Like I never thought I would be a publicist. Like, I never thought that was a thing. Like. I was just making music, and then but you'll find different things in this industry that you might be good at, but also you can be more than one thing.
And you don't just about have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You don't. Well, 100%. Like especially the artists that I work with, they all have a hand in everything else. You know, and they want to sit over it. Like all the artists I work with, it's a partnership. Like they have their roles and functions that they input to, and I have mine, and but collaboratively, we're working on this thing together.
Yep.
And it's got to be that team approach.
100%.
This has been a fucking awesome conversation, man.
Dope.
We've got to finish it up soon. So do you have any kind of things that you want to plug, or do you have anything that you want to finish up
stuff
with?
you got coming up?
Exciting stuff. We'll definitely be checking the Vault Ciphers that are dropping every week on A.U Dollars.
Killing
the
it.
GOAT, who's also on RMF, dropped last night. And he's
huge.
world class, man. Like, let's be honest, you guys watch that one?
Yep, fucking oath.
That dude's stupid. Like, I'm really excited about him. I'm excited everyone we've had in the Vault. R.E.A.L last week smashed it. Like all of them doing really well. So check out the Vault Ciphers. We've got heaps of cool stuff happening on A.U Dollars.
They're also just through the A.U Dollars YouTube as well.
A.U Dollars YouTube. Anything at A.U Dollars, AUDOLLARS. Any of that, you will find us on all socials. So check out A.U Dollars. We've got some cool festival stuff we're doing with international artists and that coming up over summer. So keep checking the page for content. Real Music Family, at Real Music Family on everything. Yeah. Come 2020, we're about to drop a whole bunch of music. We've been steady plotting 2019. We've had a few little drops. You know, Kane Drupa had some stuff out. Drupa just dropped a new feature yesterday, so check that. But yeah, 2020, everyone's dropping. So stay ready for that and stay watching. Just follow us online at the digital, and then we'll link up. We do it for the North.
Nice. My man, thank you very much for coming through.
Good to have you guys. Good to be
another
here.
episode of Marshall Street Podcast.
Listen
Done and
up.
dusted, Stewie.
Bye.
Subscribe.
This will be the last one with a mustache.
We'll see.
Donate.
I might keep it. Yeah.
Donate.
Donate.
November Foundation.
Do it. Bless up.
Peace.